Well, the president is scheduled to speak at the United Nations General Assembly tomorrow. Let's bring in our Trisha Tirada. Trisha, what do we expect from this speech?
Oh, yes, Pia, for the first time since he started his term, President Duterte will participate in the high level general debate of the 75th session of the United Nations General Assembly. This will happen tomorrow night, September 22, Manila time. Without going into specifics, Presidential Assistant on Foreign Affairs Robert Borges says the chief executive will talk about the country's position on wide range of issues important to the Philippines. Among these are the global response to the coronavirus pandemic, peace and security, including terrorism and geopolitical developments in the Asia Pacific, sustainable development and climate change, the rule of law, justice, and human rights, including the situation of migrant workers and refugees, and of course, peacekeeping and UN reforms. The president is also expected to address the country's concerns on the relationship between China and the United States, their position on the South China Sea dispute, and the seeming battle for alliances in the ASEAN. And the president has Borges said that the president has been considering this since the beginning of his term, but this year takes a special significance because it's the 57th anniversary. But more than that, he says the intensity and urgency to address global issues that urge the president to participate in this forum. The president recognizes that the Philippines can't do it alone, and the United Nations is the world's biggest platform where one country can articulate its position on many items and issues. And the president will speak on the first day of the General Assembly. He is in the first block, 12 in the lineup of speakers, which include Brazil, US, Turkey, China, Chile, South Africa, Cuba, Russia, Jordan, Korea, Qatar, and then, of course, the Philippines, followed by Iran and France. Back to you.
Well, Trisha, the president also letting health workers with complete documents leave for abroad by August 31st. Tell us about that decision.
Right, Pia, the president allowed health workers with complete papers to leave and work abroad, mainly because they've already spent for the documents they needed. Take note that by complete documents, they mean the worker already has a visa, which is a requirement of the Immigration Bureau. Now, to avoid confusion, Malacanang says workers must follow or comply with BI's requirements. The palace says this decision will benefit 1,500 health workers based on the data from the Labor Department. Back to you.
And Trisha, 9 days left for or until the current quarantine classification expires. What will the scenario be most likely after September 30? And will Metro Manila move to MGCQ or modified GCQ?
At this point, nothing is certain yet, Pia. Trade Secretary Mon Lopez supports the easing of restrictions in Metro Manila, provided that everyone will strictly follow protocol, especially the so-called 7 commandments. But Secretary Harry Roque says the decision will be based on data and science. And although Roque did not say if NCR will shift to MGCQ, he says the situation will be a bit different, especially in areas where there have been zero transmission. In the past month. The areas now fall or can possibly fall under the new normal. So what's quite clear for now is that there will be new classifications by October 1. Roque also notes there are requirements before an area like Metro Manila can move to MGCQ. Among those, of course, is lower case doubling rate, which is 28 days. Right now, NCR's doubling rate is 13 to 14 days. But the IATF says it will assess because it's also important to consider the critical care capacity, which is currently at medium risk. Back to you, Pia.
Trisha Tirada there reporting.